hand of the cause of God, Amatul Baha Rahia Khanum, widow of the beloved guardian, was a witness to the way in which Shoghi Effendi carried forward the work of adorning the seat of God's throne.
Boy, that's going to be quite a climb in the future. But it's the way of the kings. According to Abdul Baha, they would come barefooted and bareheaded from the foot of the mountain to visit the shrine. And that's the way the Baha'is will come in the future. It's 9 terraces, and it will be developed by the Universal House of Justice during the coming years to be much more monumental. In the future, that whole panel will be engraved with Kufic script from the writings of the Bab in Arabic. And we're waiting for the day when we can find somebody who knows it well enough to make the designs, and expert stone cutters come who are capable of doing it. And the same thing holds for the panels up at the top around the building. The whole thing will have excerpts from the writings of the Bab. In 1928, Shoghi Effendi added 3 more rooms here at the back because he knew that it had to be symmetrical, 9 rooms with the body of the Bab in the center. And then in 1944, he unveiled the plan for the superstructure of the tomb of the Bab. My father was a very famous Canadian architect, and he was living here with Shoghi Effendi and me during the war and after the war. And the guardian said, I want you to design this structure of the Bab shrine. And this model of this building was unveiled officially in 1944, the 100th anniversary of the beginning of the Baha'i faith. Every single drawing was a detailed drawing made by my father. And the artists there, the carvers, used to say that all we need is one of Mr. Maxwell's drawings, and we can cut from that direct on the stone. We know exactly what we have to do. He was a very fine draftsman, a fine artist, and a fine architect. And all of this Shoghi Effendi supervised himself. I can't go into the details, but he had the whole project carried out directly under his supervision. He used to come, it was in war years when we had no pilgrims, he used to come and stand here and direct the laborers with the excavation. And whenever a shipment arrived, Shoghi Effendi would send a message to the Baha'is all over the world telling them that we have received so and so many stones for the shrine. He made it so romantic. Frankly, it wasn't romantic for us. It was all very, very hard work.
This magnificent edifice, described as the day spring of divine splendor, the heaven of heavens, the Queen of Carmel, was chosen by Baha'u'llah to become the spiritual center round which the administrative institutions of a new world order would gradually be established. After the passing of the greatest holy leaf in 1932, Shoghi Effendi interred her remains in close proximity to the shrine of the Bab. A few years later, he brought here the remains of the purest branch, martyred son of Baha'u'llah, and of his mother, Nawab, described by Baha'u'llah as his consort in all the worlds of God.
I don't think that the Baha'is appreciate the fact that this monument of the sister of Abdul Baha, the greatest holy leaf, Bahia Khanum, is really the hub of all of this development that we are looking at the present time on Mount Carmel, except for the shrine of the Bab, which is, of course, the fixed point of the forerunner of the Baha'i faith. What people don't understand is that this tremendous love and respect that Shoghi Effendi had for his great aunt, for the sister of Abdul Baha'i's beloved grandfather, and the fact that he instructed that she should be buried here on Mount Carmel was the point of the development of this entire arc. And I think that one has to realize that the guardian himself laid all of these gardens out. He chose the position. He, with his own hands, I was present the night that he entombed these remains here with so much reverence and respect, and hundreds of Baha'is in torchlight gathered around while they were buried here. This place is so full of not only history, but of significance. Shoghi Effendi did almost everything himself.
Under the guiding hand of Shoghi Effendi, these exquisite gardens developed into the fulcrum of a far-flung arc on Mount Carmel. In 1954, Shoghi Effendi announced plans to erect the International Baha'i Archives, first of the 5 great institutions to grace that arc.
The interesting thing about this archives, which is the Museum of Baha'i Historic Objects, is that it was not only designed, as you can see, in the Greek style, based roughly on the proportions of the Parthenon, but Shoghi Effendi, the guardian of the Baha'i faith, did something I have never seen before in my life. He developed the whole garden in front of the building before it was built. And he built the building from the back into the empty space towards the front. So that when the building was completed,